When I was knee-high and going to grade school every day, twice a day I would pass a very ugly monument in my hometown that was called the Monument of Gratitude to Red Army Soldiers. It was ugly not only in artistic kind of a way, but also in political or philosophical way. Because when the Red Army liberated my hometown in 1945, they stayed there for almost 50 years to make sure that we Poles were obedient to our friends in Moscow. Nobody was grateful for that liberation, and nobody liked that monument, to be honest. Thank goodness I lived long enough to see that monument and many other demolished in the 1990s, when all the Lenins and Stalins were taken down from their pedestals in Poland, Ukraine, Czech Republic, and other Eastern Bloc countries. It was amazing to see those communist saints being taken down from their pedestals. It was unbelievable to see these concrete monuments, concrete statues taken down and broken into pieces. But it also was a proof that Poland is changing, that the role models that were enforced upon us were very much artificial. Then a year or two ago, I was following the news when other kinds of monuments were taken down in St. Louis, in many southern states, where the heroes of the Civil War were taken down. Robert E. Lee and other leaders of the southern states. And then, just about a week ago, there was an article in the most popular French newspaper that was proposing removal of John Paul II from the ranks of the saints. The author of that article was claiming that because John Paul II tolerated, knowingly or not, the sexual abuse of the minors in the Roman Catholic Church, he shouldn't be a saint. But perhaps there was more that he could have done or should have done. And today, as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, there are some voices that claim that St. Patrick wasn't such a saintly hero neither. Looking from our perspective, as Christian Catholics, he was a good guy. But what about the other perspective of the nature-worshipping people of Ireland before Christianity came to this island? Some can claim that he was the first that initiated genocide of the native peoples in Ireland. Each story, each coin has two sides. People we call heroes or saints one day might be taken down from their pedestals. As a matter of fact, in our church we have plenty of saint statues on all kinds of pedestals. We even have St. Patrick in our Polish church. And if you think about it, everybody that has ever been on any kind of a pedestal has at least once or twice deserved to be taken down from this pedestal. You know, as children, we idolize our parents. When we are toddlers, my mommy or my daddy is almighty, all-powerful, and all-knowing. And then, when you become a teenager, they know nothing. They have no idea what's going on in my life. I have found all the wisdom there is to be found. When you fall in love, you put this man or woman on a pedestal. You think how cute and sweet everything he or she does and says is just perfect, honey to your soul. But after a while, that honey stops being sweet and annoys the heck out of you because she or he is not that perfect as you thought they were. That's the problem of putting someone on a pedestal. Be it a saint, be it your spouse, your parent, or your child. None of these people are perfect. As a matter of fact, do you know what is the first condition to become a saint? You have to be dead. To be even put on a waiting list for sainthood, you have to be dead for a while. So as long as you are alive, don't worry. There is no chance you'll become a saint. One has to be deceased for a few years at least to even be considered for sainthood. Why? Because we need to know what truly happened in her or his life. Maybe we did move too fast with the canonization of John Paul II, and now we are learning more about all the things that are going on behind the scenes. Maybe we did move too fast with canonization of Mother Teresa of Calcutta. In the centuries past, one has to be dead at least for 1 century before one could be considered for sainthood. And we do this because eventually, sooner or later, you will find something that person did or said that wasn't so ideal. Eventually, all the statues, all the monuments can and perhaps should be taken down. In today's gospel scene, which by the way is beautifully portrayed in this stained glass window on your right hand side, we see 3 people on the pedestal: Moses, Elijah, and Jesus. The gospel writer says that they were transformed. Their clothing was glowing, was radiant. And the disciples who were present were in awe. But one after another, Moses and Elijah disappear, and there is only Jesus left in that vision of transfiguration. And then when Jesus only is left, a voice is heard, "This is my chosen one. Listen to him." Listen to him. If you are a man of faith, this is the only person that should remain standing on any pedestal in your life. Not your spouse, not your child, whom you idealize probably too much, not even your priest, but only Jesus the Christ. Because the popes, the saints, the spouses, the children, we all make mistakes. Because no matter how long we have been on these pedestals, we deserve to be taken down. The only person we should listen to is the one in the center of this stained glass window. When we face difficult decisions in life, when we are dealing with very complex questions, when we are grieving like we are today after this terrible attack in New Zealand, we need to ask ourselves not what would St. Patrick do, not what would John Paul II say, but the question we need to ask is, what would Jesus do in this situation? How would he approach the question of growing white nationalism? How would he answer the questions about our neighbors who look or pray in a different way? How would he talk to a stranger who is knocking on our border, north or south? We don't need to look for new idols, for new saints, for new authorities in our life. Because in the end, they all make mistakes. All these saints, all these statues, all the people we are putting on pedestals are not perfect. At the end, there is only one. Listen to him. Amen.